Everyone, welcome to SheaRants for Horror and Supreme. Today, I'm talking about some Scream 7 theories, and I am not alone once again. This is like a little running series. I don't like to do this alone because it feels weird. So today I am joined by her, and welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me, Shay. Really looking forward to this, actually.
Yeah, no problem. I know, of course, that you've watched me before, so I just felt it was right to just invite you on to talk about some Scream 7 theories. Because it is probably the biggest upcoming horror movie besides from a lot of the ones next year, because pretty much next year is just full of sequels. So what would you say is your number one want for Scream 7?
So my number one want at the moment is I really want an impactful opening kill. So I don't want it to just be a random person. I want it to be somebody whose death is going to have a big impact on Sydney. So I'm feeling somebody like her dad. I know that he was supposed to die in Scream 4, but that was a deleted scene. So there's still it's still open for him to be alive. So I'd like to see that, because I think that if we're going to see a more vulnerable Sydney, then we need the opening kill to be something that is really going to affect her. And I just want it to be, I don't know, I want the storyline to have a really good direction where it's not just, it doesn't feel forced and it doesn't feel like things have just been put in there for the sake of it. I want it to start feeling a bit more like Scream again, because I didn't feel like that with the last movie. So that's the main two things that I kind of am wanting most at the moment. What about you?
Well, I mean, for me, I agree with you. I definitely do want someone impactful for the opening kill. Me and Sib and I were actually talking yesterday, and we said it would be funny if they randomly brought Dewey back just to kill him off again in the opening kill.
Can't do Dewey like that.
I doubt they would do that, because that would probably get the fans to just go after them if they kill him twice. But I mean, for me, I won't say Stu currently, because it's never confirmed with Stu, but. For me, I'm thinking I want an actual Scream movie. I don't just want murder mystery random movie with Ghostface there as well. I want the actual Scream feeling of the movie. With the last 2, 3, I didn't really feel that. Even with 4, I didn't really feel it, but it was sort of there. But then they sort of just mixed it up with a bunch of live streamer stuff as well. But with the last 2, they didn't really feel like Scream to me. They felt more like family drama with a bit of Scream in there as well. But
yeah, I completely get that.
For this one, I'm really hoping that they just sort of focus on Sydney and Gale, because, sure, the last one kind of did focus on Gale a little bit. But I want her to actually have some sort of arc. In the last one, they brought back her annoyingness of the first movie, where she was just really rude and nosy. But I want her to actually have some character development,
Yeah, there's not been much progression.
Yeah. For example, in your video, you mentioned maybe she could write a book for Dewey. That would be good, maybe actually do something for him, because it would actually be good character development, because in her original Scream book, she sort of made fun of Dewey. But then if she made a new book, she'd probably say, in my original book, I'd said this, but in reality, it was this. That would be some good character development for her.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to see Gale progress more. She's sort of backpedaled for me, and it's not the Gale that I thought we were going to get, especially in Scream 6, and I really don't think she was utilised properly. So I agree with you on that. They need to focus on her more. They need to show her have proper progression and not keep on falling back into the old Gale traits and tropes of what she's comfortable with. We need to see her actually do something that we wouldn't expect Gale to do, because it would show that she has actually grown and she's moved on from the person that she once was, which I think is needed for her. I don't think she's got much of a story to tell there anymore. I do think she should die.
There is a lot of different ways they could go with it. Like they could probably just have her like just stay how she is, which is probably the most likely. Sadly, like they'll just probably keep her as like just the like antithesis to Sydney, just like the ruder one. But I mean, one possibility which I've had in my head, which I don't think is true considering recent rumors, is that like Sydney's kids, one of their kids could be the killer, but I think they won't do that much of a time jump because then it wouldn't make sense because Nev Campbell doesn't look 80 years old, so it wouldn't really work.
I mean, I guess, but we don't know how old her kids are. She could have had one in Scream 4 and we just wouldn't have known. So I liked that idea that when you said that in I can't remember which video comments it was in, but when you said that, I was like, actually, that would be really good to see one of her kids just go completely psycho and turn against her mom. I think that would be quite an interesting
I mean, the main idea was to have sort of like a Jill kind of like thing where like they're sort of like overshadowed by their mom and then like they're just jealous, so they want to get some of her fame, so they're trying to murder her pretty much.
Yeah, that sounds I mean, like I like that, and I think that Sydney could have been a little bit overprotective over her children because of her experiences, that her children could be like, actually, I haven't had a proper childhood, I'm not able to do what I want to do, and just blame their mom for it. I think there's it would be quite a good storyline to go down. So I like that one.
Yeah, and not only that, I think that could also be a good way to bring Stu in. You could say that Stu was manipulating them.
Yeah, with like the cult, because I know that a lot of people want to see a cult of Ghostface with Stu being the leader. I mean, I was talking to Sippin Ice a little bit yesterday about how I don't really want to see Stu return because I love him. He's like my second favourite, but I don't want it to ruin the character and the storyline that we've already had. But I wouldn't kick up a fuss if he did come back. And I think that to have a cult of Ghostface with Stu as the leader, that would be the best way to sort of bring him back in, rather than just like a random willy-nilly, oh, surprise, it's me. And there was no clues at all that it was going to be him. So if they're going to go down the route of bringing Stu back, I do think that would be a very clever way of doing it. I don't know if you saw Craven Something Scary's video last week about the article in GameRant. But it was about the lost footage of Gale's video from the original, and that brought in some really good way to bring back Stu. And if they could sort of incorporate that with a cult, I think that would be quite interesting to bring him back that way.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's also another idea which I've had stuck in my head since I was told it, and this one I think could also kind of work. So a while ago, I think about like a month ago now, I did a video with Destination Station, and he had this theory that Kirby is a secret Ghostface in Scream 6. So I think that could possibly carry over into Scream 7 as well. Because there are parts in that movie where she just sort of disappears, and there's also some ghost faces coming out of bloody nowhere. Then she just randomly reappears. So I can see where he's definitely coming from with that, and I think that could possibly actually happen. Because she does seem really off in that movie. She doesn't seem like Kirby to me. She just seems like random FBI agent.
Yeah, like I can see that. There's certain parts, especially when they were planning on trapping Ghostface, and it's just the expression she had, and I don't know if it was thrown in as a red herring, but it just felt so weird. And I think they've missed a lot of opportunities to bring back certain characters to be Ghostfaces. For instance, I think Judy Hicks would have made a great Ghostface, and I think that she should have been one in Scream 5. And Kirby definitely had that feeling about her in Scream 6. So to have her as a secret Ghostface in Scream 7, I think that'd be quite cool. It's something we haven't seen before with a recurring character, and I think that would be a good new way to go with the franchise. I like that.
Definitely. It would also be the first time that I think like one of like the sort of main characters, like proper like actual main characters who survived through films, has been a Ghostface. because we haven't really seen that before, unless
No,
you count
we
the TV
haven't.
show.
I don't like the TV show. I'm going to be brutally honest there. But one of the rumours that I have heard is that they are signing. Well, Hayden Panettiere is in talks to return for Seven, and also a TV series, which would be based around the time of Scream 7. It's something I saw yesterday. Don't particularly like that, but I think that would be a better TV series than the previous one that we had, and that could also incorporate. If they wanted to go down that route, they could incorporate that way as well, with her being a ghost face and working behind the scenes. It would be quite interesting.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like I hate the third season, but like the first two seasons were pretty good besides The Mask. Like, sure, it had the whole like CW drama-esque part of it that I just don't like about any TV show nowadays, but I thought the characters and the acting was alright.
Yeah, I just I don't know if it was the right time to bring out a TV series, maybe, and that's why I didn't enjoy it as much. But I do agree with you on the characters. Like the characters and the mains were quite good. I just, like you said, The Mask was terrible, and I don't like anybody else doing the voice. But that's just me being stubborn.
Yeah, I mean, like I can see where you come from. Where like you like use that TV show as a good way to like have Kirby be a ghost face, but I don't see them like properly doing that well, because I also saw a few things online yesterday about that, and it was like them saying it would be following Kirby in her like FBI job, and I was just like, what's even the point? You know, if there's not like a ghost face, it isn't really Scream. Like if there isn't like a murderer, just as ghost face, or at least looking sort of like him, it ain't really Scream.
Yeah, they can't just bring something like NCIS or something and just pop that in and you know, it just be completely unrelated. They'd have to bring it in a very clever way. But I would rather them focus on the movies, to be honest with you, than a new TV show. I think that the movies need more focus, because the last two for me have been quite disappointing, and like you said before, they haven't really felt like Scream, so I don't want them to do something else that's not going to feel like Scream and then possibly ruin a character or ruin any other aspect of the actual franchise itself. But I know that they are also apparently looking to film for 4 months. I think they've said, from December to March, which is quite a long time. So I don't know if that's them trying to get it right. I know that people think it could be 2 movies being filmed at the same time, back to back. But I'm more under the impression they may be trying to have more time to get it right. But I don't know. We'll see there, because it's a bit of a long time to be filming.
I mean, I'm not really the biggest fan of when you film like a trilogy or like 2 movies back to back. It doesn't always work. Most of the time, it really doesn't work. For example, the new Stranger movie, it sucks. I was forced to watch some of those like romance films that came out a few years ago by my sister. Those sucked. That's just probably because I'm not a romance fan. But I mean, sometimes it can work, but other times it just really doesn't, because it just feels kind of rushed. Like going from one movie straight to the other one, the actors will look the exact same, and you won't really like have any like change. Like sure, you can use like makeup and everything, but it won't look like properly like done, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think if they were to film 2 back-to-backs, it's obviously going to end on some sort of cliffhanger, which to me isn't Scream, and that's not something I would like to see personally. But like you said, it also feels like they could possibly rush both movies if they were to film them back to back. But also, you don't know how the success of Scream 7 would be, so I think it would be a bit silly of them to film Scream 7 and Scream 8 back to back, because it just wouldn't make sense to me there. So I'm hoping that the long filming time frame is just to get everything right and to make sure that it feels like it used to feel in the franchise, and not what we've had in the past couple of years.
Another thing which I've been wondering about the film as well is how are they going to explain, because of course they kind of have to, you know, they've got like massive fans now. and they're just sort of part of the franchise as well. How are they going to explain the like absence of the core four?
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a sticky one, I think, because they can't completely ignore what happened, even though it wasn't Sydney central. They can't ignore it. Gale witnessed it. Sydney witnessed it to an extent. It's happened. They've got to sort of look back on that if they're going to try and figure out who Ghostface is or how many Ghostfaces there are, whatever. They've got to look back on that to see if it could possibly be linked at all. It's going to be very, they've got to be careful because they don't obviously want to overdo it, but they've got to recognize that it did happen. So I'll be interested to see how they do that.
I mean, since they did do it to Sydney, I think it would be absolutely hilarious if they just have like a throwaway line about them and then that's it. Because
that would be good.
With Scream 6, they just went, oh yeah, Sydney sends her blessings, she's sitting out of this one. So, I don't know, maybe I'll do the same with this one.
Oh yeah, Sam sends her blessings, but she's taken Tara somewhere else, so they're safe. They deserve the happy ending. Yeah, that would be quite. I'd like that. I think that would fit quite well, actually.
I think that would be hilarious, but I think it would probably cause an uproar online with like the newer Scream fans. So I don't think they'd do that.
Most likely, but there's a lot of like you said, like it would cause a lot of uproar because there's quite a few people who aren't for this movie because it doesn't have Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega coming back. So there are a lot of disgruntled fans out there. So yeah, I think they'll do it gracefully, I think. But I would like to see a funny line being thrown in there somewhere just to nod back to how they treated Sydney in the sixth one.
Yeah, and even if they don't do like a throwaway line, they could bring back replacement Dewey, aka Chad, because he's working for Spyglass again. He's doing like Love Dies, I think it is. It's like a Valentine's Day horror movie. So I'm thinking maybe he could just appear randomly, and then he'll just say like, "Yeah, we're going on vacation" or something. I don't know. Yeah,
it could be like how Martha was in 3 when she came and she showed a video of Randy. He could possibly pop up and be like, "Look, this is from I keep on saying they're flipping. This is from Tara and Sam." Blah blah blah, and it could just be like either like a video or something like that of them in hiding or whatever because they don't want to get involved with it anymore. But it could have some, I don't know. Obviously, they're not going to do that because Melissa's not coming back. But you know what I mean. He could be that sort of just. Yeah. Quick 2-minute, here you go, here's something that's going to help you with the plot line. So yeah, I do think that it would be nice to have him back because I do like him. I'd like Chad as a character, which is, I think he was supposed to die in Scream 5, wasn't he? A bit like they originally planned for Dewey, but they liked him so much they brought him back. I would in the future like to see him again because he's one of the characters that I can actually bear. There's a couple of characters I went off in Scream 6, like Tara and Mindy. I got bored of in the end. So just to have a quick somebody pop in, that would be a bit of more like a comedic role in a way, just for 2 minutes would be quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, my only issue with Chad is that they killed Dewey in one movie, then the next movie they just have like a guy who's just doing the same thing as Dewey. He got stabbed 47 times by 2 ghost faces at the same time. His guts would probably be like mincemeat by now, but somehow he's still alive. Yeah, no way that any normal person would have gotten out of that. That is one of the things about 6, again, that I find a bit silly, is just the amount of, there's nobody really died, and it was a lot of invincibility in that movie, which didn't feel right to me. Yeah, there weren't really stakes, which is what I'm hoping for with Scream 7, because when they introduce them and then like the next movie they're calling them the Core 4, they ain't gonna die. No, and this is the one thing like about Scream 7, they do need to change. They need to take risks. I personally want to see Gale die because I don't see how far they can really take her story anymore. I love Gale, but I do think this should be her last one. I think there's only so much you can survive. I know Sydney will have survived quite a lot, but she's a completely different kettle of fish there. But with Gale, I think that there needs to be some sort of sacrifice from her, just to show again that character progression and that maturing in her. I think that there needs to be some sort of sacrifice from Gale, or just something big that happens to Gale, which will have a more impact on the character and the story. So I do want to see more risks. I want to see completely different to what we saw in the last movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't know if they would kill Gale though at this point. Like, I know a lot of people wouldn't like this, but I would have preferred they killed Gale in Scream 5. They kept Dewey. I'd like Dewey too much. Like, when you give someone their own theme music, you don't kill them. But
no, I get that. I think Dewey had more of an impact on the story than what Gale does.
Yeah.
He's more of that support for Sydney as well. Which I do agree. I think out of the two, it would have made more sense for Gale to die in 5, and for Dewey to stick around. And I think that the fans prefer Dewey over Gale as well. But then again, I think that's why they killed him off, just to have that big shock factor. But I think it kind of backfired a little bit.
Yeah. And then,
but I just want to see them keep away from that.
Definitely. I mean, if they kill off Gale, then she'll probably only have like Mark Kincaid left, if they're even going to bring back Patrick Dempsey at this point, because I've heard rumors that apparently he wants Mark to have like a massive role in the movie.
Yeah, they're not going to do that for him. It's not going to be Mark Central. So because I've heard the same thing, and I think, originally I was thinking Mark could be the opening kill. And then I heard that rumor and it made me change my mind. Well, obviously he's not, because he wants a bigger role, which to me says he doesn't actually die. But I don't know. I think because they're saying that Sydney is going to be more vulnerable, they need to rip away a lot from her to get her to be that way. And her family and closest people to her are the best way to go if they want to do that, which again is taking risks.
We do know that she has an aunt. Did her aunt die in Scream 4? I can't remember now.
She did. Jill killed her.
Maybe the uncle. You never know.
You never know.
Maybe they were divorced, but I mean, I don't know who else they can really kill. So it needs to be someone who was actually like in the franchise as well. Like, I don't think they should kill off Martha Meeks. I think that would be a bit stupid because she's not really in there at all. Plus, I like her. No, and she's funny.
She's not that close to Sydney either.
Yeah, I mean, if they suddenly like form a bond in this movie and they're roomies or something, maybe. But like, you know, that'll come out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think they'll kill her off. But like you said, it should be people that have been in the franchise. So, like, that's why the only people that I can really think of is going to be Kirby, Gale, Mark, or Sydney's dad. They're the top 4 that come to my head.
Yeah, and besides from that, I don't think there really is anyone. But I mean, if they want Sydney to be like more vulnerable, or I guess more like emotional, this movie, maybe say that like her and Mark are like going through something, like, I don't know, maybe a loss or like a divorce or something like that. You know, maybe they're like breaking up.
I didn't actually think of that, but that's quite a good way, isn't it, to sort of make her feel alone, because obviously that would be a big thing she'd be going through. So yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good theory. I like that one. It saves people as well.
I mean, if they're going through a divorce, as you said, she'll feel more alone, and then also Mark won't have that big of a story. But you could say that like they're fighting over who is the kids, who is the house, etc. And then randomly Ghostface will come in. He'll probably kill Mark or something. And then that will just make her feel even worse.
I like that. Again, it would. I think it could tie everything from the previous movies into the storyline as well, because it could say, you know, what Sydney's been through and Mark has been through to an extent has affected the way that their relationship has gone. So I could see that working, to be fair. I quite like that. It doesn't always have to be Ghostface killing somebody straight away to emotionally affect somebody, does it? it can be all sorts of ways. So I think that would be quite an interesting way to go. I like that.
And either way, with whatever they do with the movie, I just hope that it eventually becomes a good Scream movie, and it is a proper Scream movie. That is really my only need for the movie.
Yeah, I think that's what most, especially like the OG fans who have been with the franchise from the start, I think that's what most people want. They just want it to, honour the franchise, not go too far off, not be too over the top, and just feel like it's an actual Scream movie again. I do think that it's been lost for a little bit. So I'm in complete agreement with you. I think it's really needed.
Yeah, I think we will probably end it off here then. Thank you for coming on the channel and talking to Scream with me.
No, thank you so much for asking me. I've really enjoyed it. I love having a good old natter about Scream. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you all for watching this video. I will have Jorge's channel linked in the description, and also in the pinned comment if it will work this time, because sometimes it just doesn't let me at people. But yeah, that's probably it for this video. As I said, thank you for coming on, and until next time, bye-bye.